All right. Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Hazmat Guys Nation Roundtable. This is a multimedia. You know, I was told that I say this too quickly. Maybe I should say it for the Midwest. This is a multimedia platform to bring hazmat response information and training tips from hazmat members from around the globe. I am Bobby Salveson, and I'll be here acting as the host of the show for tonight. And I am joined by Bob Kosh, and Bob Kosh alone because we are that awesome.
Well, you know what? It's hell being us sometimes, Bobby. It's a curse.
It's something that we had a burden, but we're gonna pull it off tonight because we're superhuman. I don't know what to tell you.
We're just that good. Let's be honest. We're just that good, and it's been tough.
It's tough. It's a trifle, but So what's been going on with you? Anything good?
Well, let's see. Since the last time you saw me, I had interesting procedure involving a camera, clearing out my system. You know, stuff you should do when you hit our age. Well, my age, because I guess I'm.
What?
I look younger than you, but I'm older than you.
When God said, "Let there be light," you hit the switch. All right.
I was sitting next to him at the table. What are you talking about?
We're going around. We had a couple of Mike. Actually, you can see his green screen over there on the right. If that's on your right, where you are, he was just as we were pushing start, called away to. I don't know what the hell he's going to, but he was going to something up in northern Queens.
Not chasing another bull through Queens, was he?
No, did you see that in the news?
Dude, that's crazy. I thought, what are they in Orlando?
That's fun. We have a lot of people checking in. Todd, Raul, Mikey, Kimura. He's a ghetto favorite. Sarah, Dave, AJ. Everybody's coming in, and we have one topic that we wanted to kind of throw in there. And if anybody's really got something to say about this, the platform is a little wobbly tonight. I will say that we were on a little bit early to see where we were, but we want to hear. And I have no problem bringing you in to speak about this because it is a topic that I think a lot of us ask the question, but nobody really has the answer to. And I think it's a lot. There's very few true answers to this because it's like an opinion. You know, there's really nothing. Oh, is George here? I'm hoping.
Georgie boy.
I hope he is. There's really no real opinion because depending on what meter you use, is really the answer, right, Bobby? You want to set it up for me.
So yeah, okay. So the question has come up, and we talk about it in the Hazmat Tech class we teach here in Orlando, and I'm kind of a fanatic about it myself, and it's about. It's about turning on your meters in the rig while you're going to a call.
Okay.
I've been a fanatic about not doing it, and a lot of reasons for it. You know, if you're in a closed cab, you know, okay, yeah, you got air conditioning, whatever, but you still got things floating around in the cab. Number one, you've got stuff emitting off of your gear. You know, hopefully you have some type of procedures where you're washing your gear and whatever, but still, let's face facts. If you had a fire recently or whatnot, you're going to have this stuff coming off of your gear. So there's different things that I think people don't think of when they fire their meters up in the cab, the truck. Now, we just got a new meter. I don't want to throw names out there because we're not, endorsing a whole lot of stuff, but it took 2 minutes and 20 seconds just to fire up. And then when you had to do a fresh air cal, it was another 54 seconds. So if we go by my way of thinking, we get there on the scene and we're having to do that. We're looking at over 3 minutes before we're even ready to go do an operation. So what's the thoughts on that?
George, are you on the air? Are you hearing it?
I'm trying. I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes. We're talking about warming up the meter either in the rig or where would you now? Me and George, just a quick background. George also, what hair? Jerry's talking about my hair. I don't have hair.
He's talking about my hair. My hair is perfect.
Because I don't have any. It's the lack thereof. George works in Hazmat Company 1 with me in FDNY, and for the record, me and George start the meters on the roll. In fact, we have one guy. We are a luxurious, vibrant department, and we have one guy that's dedicated just to gathering, starting, and preparing the meters for the 2 entry guys that are getting prepared to go in. So as far as what we do in the FDNY, that's what we do. We started up on the roll.
But your rig is dedicated hazmat rig. You don't have bunker gear hanging in there and all that, right?
Right.
Okay.
So, George, you got anything to add on that? You know anything more different about that?
I just caught the end of what you said about not starting the meters in the rig. The environment, as long as you don't do what we always do, which is stand right pipe when we get out of the rig, finding an area that you would call fresh air. I don't know if anything inside the rig is going to be that much different than what you're going to find somewhere outside the rig when you get to the run. Really make that much difference. When you talk about chin is on some of these machines, whether the stuff that's floating around inside the rig is really going to be that detrimental, is going to throw it off that much. I can't say I think it makes that big of a difference.
Okay. So George's audio is a little messed up, but we are getting through with that. But he's, yeah, you're right. We have a
Are you
lot
getting
of
any better?
Yeah, we got you. It's just choppy. Your audio, your internet's a little bad. A lot of the thing is, it comes down to, do you do it in the rig or do you do it out of the rig? And Todd's saying, are you really saving that much time? And yeah, I'm a proponent, and not because that's what we do, only because of the. In my mind, it does save that much time. I think it does. We go on runs that are an hour away. We go on runs that are 5 minutes away. And if I have to start up my meter and then wait for it to come to full, now again, where I work, we have an awful lot of meters. We have some meters that start in 30 seconds and some meters that take 15 minutes to start. So I don't really have the luxury of starting up meters when I get to the scene, because the Chiefs want it done now.
Right. Well, let's pose this question to everybody. What if you fire up the meter in the rig, but you don't fresh air cow it until you get on the scene?
I'm totally cool with that.
Would that, and I know the answer, but let's see what kind of conversation we can spur. Would that help or hurt your initial readings when you go in?
I would think,
or make a difference at all.
I don't think it makes a difference at all, because I mean, the guys that are listening to the show are into the job, and I think they understand what a fresh air setup does. But I think, pardon it, but 95% of the knuckleheads that we work with, they don't. And you know what? They go, FAS, don't know, yes. And they have no idea. And meanwhile, they just recalibrated this meter to 10. And I'm making a totally thing. I think they don't really understand what a fresh air setup or anything like that is. I think that when the meter is settled, the cal gas will re-zero it out. And if it has, listen, if I'm in a rig that is bleeding all types of toxic chemicals that these meters trigger on, then I have bigger problems than just that.
Right.
Kenny's saying we lost all audio and video, and Jerry is saying that it wouldn't make a difference at all. Jerry, if you want to swing on, Kevin Ryan, David, Kenny, I'm throwing you on there. Just click on the link and you should be able to come on. I'd like to hear what you got to say about this, because it's an interesting topic. I don't know. I think this is one of those things where everybody's got an opinion, kind of like asses.
Wait, that's not a reference to me, was it?
No.
Oh, okay.
That wasn't a pun.
Not my. No, not okay. But and that's quite honestly, that's how I was brought up. Don't fire it up in a rig. But again, it's not a dedicated hazmat rig. It's either the hazmat engine or, in my case, the hazmat truck company that has all kinds of.
All right,
it's less than a clean environment.
I'll be Bill. I do mean assholes. Clint and Tim, you have a question here. Does temperature extremes make a difference? And do you guys perform a bunt test and clear the peaks before going downrange as well as a fresh air cal? Now, I'm going to say this personally, and again, my views and thoughts don't convey the FDNY's thing. I'm just going to tell you what we usually do. We do a full test twice a day, which is way beyond manufacturer specifications. They say it's like twice a week. We do it twice a day because we found that guys like to keep their hands on it. And if they don't do it with our schedule, you may miss that day for weeks, and therefore we can't practice. So we just do it twice a day, and it's just easier for us. As far as temperature extremes, hell yeah. All right. I'm just doing now and for I'll leak it out right now. We are starting I'm one of the co-hosts of the Hazmat Guys podcast, where we tackle these terribly big topics and we break them down. We are starting a brand new show called Ask the Hazmat Guys, where you can ask us a question and we will answer it. And one of the questions we just got and I just answered was, what does humidity have to do with your meters? And it really does have to do with a big thing with PIDs. PIDs totally screw these things up. So if you're in your nice, cozy, warm rig, David, you got to click on the microphone and the camera up at the top middle. If you get out of that rig from a nice, cozy compartment and now you go outside and it's, sub-chilly outside, that PID will be not happening, bro. It's not going to happen. Temperature absolutely will affect it, especially with the electrochemical. And this is not even my forte metering. I'm not even that good. Yeah,
and I can definitely attest to humidity being in Florida. It wreaks havoc with us all the time.
I hear something.
So,
Dave, click the top of the screen. You see a little camera and a little microphone. Turn it on, and you will be on the air. No camera. It's broken.
My camera is broken. I got to find all that destroyed it a few days ago.
That's all right, man. You know what? You probably got a face for radio. What do you got? What do you got?
Where are you from? Where are you from?
Yeah, where are you from?
Commerce City, Colorado, just north of Denver.
Oh, so you're in the cold. All right, good. You can answer this. Do you guys turn them on the roll, or do you do it when you get there?
We kind of do it both. We're trying to install in our rigs the charging stations so we can keep the sensors warm. But we're having a little difficulties with some mechanics turnover and whatnot. But generally, at the beginning of our shift, we run 48-hour shifts. So the guys get in on the first day, fire up the meters, and right now we're using the multi-array lights with 6 sensors in there in the PID. So they fire it up, do their fresh air calibration, and then they're free. Well, it sits in a Pelican case until they get a call. They hop in the back of the rig, fire up the meter on the way to the call. And then they skip the zero start and skip the fresh air calibration again.
Yeah. See, we're not AFTY. We don't do a lot of fresh air calibration. I'll be honest with you. It's few and far between because we lean on those bump tests and the constant checking of the electrochemical or the sensors that we don't really do it very often.
So, Bobby, you guys do a bump test on the scene once you get there?
No, we don't. I'll be honest. It's since I've been in hazmat, I've never done a real bump test. I've done pump tests, like capping the thing.
Right.
I've done calibration tests. I've done all that other jazz. I've never taken a Sharpie marker and put it in front of it to get a equivalency of it.
Right.
AJ's asking if are you guys a hazmat company? Are you dedicated or are you not?
We're not. We should be. We're a growing department. We got a lot of hazards. We got refineries, petrochemical places. Um, you name it, we pretty much have it in our district. And we're a growing department, like I said. And, on my rig, there's 3 guys on a truck, and then we're also a dual response. So the hammer's also out of our station. Okay. So we can pick on which ones we roll. But all the apparatus have that 6 gas, have a CGI meter, have some pH paper, and then also have that Canberra rad detector. And that's pretty much the way we roll. And if we get something bigger, then we call a 2-county hazmat team. They're a type 1 team. So we can pull from basically 29 other departments, multiple rigs and meters, and you name it, we get it rolling.
All right.
And I'm sorry, Dave, what was the name of your department again?
South Adams County Fire Department.
All right. That's it's good stuff. It's you know what? Because I think we ask 100 guys, we're going to get 100 different answers to this one.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said before, I've been a hazmat lieutenant for my department for 15 years, and I've always been. And again, it's just the way that I was brought up. Don't fire it up in the rig. Again, it's not a dedicated hazmat rig, but because of whatever else. But like you said, hey, you can do a fresh air cow once you get on scene, and that would negate whatever you got, possibly messing it up in the rig on the way there.
Yeah, Kenny's asking he would personally prefer to wait and start it on scene and away from the exhaust pipe. And I think everybody is listening to this understands the old exhaust pipe gag, right? I think we're all on the same page. If you're listening to this show, I think you kind of got that one down. But yeah, if you do, even if you warm this thing up and say, hey, listen, I want a fresh air setup away from the exhaust pipe and all that jazz, you're going to have some type of residue from either, the exhaust pipe, carbon or something like that. So Raul is asking, anyone swap the sensor on the scene? We do have that capability in New York City. We have that. It's in the rigs. We have warming trays and all the other jazz. Where we can swap out all of our rigs, all our meters. However, it is going out of pasture where there's new meters coming out that are newer and greater, and we're getting wooed with those new ones.
Yeah, we don't do it. The new meter we just got has 5 gases plus the PID, so we're able to have your regular gases plus H2S and HCN. So in 1 meter.
Dave,
we've got a lot of meters. We can switch stuff out on scene without having to switch sensors.
Yeah, Dave, we're similar. We got obviously the LEL, the O2, the H2S, the PID in there. We've got some meters now that have, on our engines, we've got the HCN, and then on our trucks, for after fires, we're starting to monitor for ETO.
Really?
Trying to hit for possibly a carcinogen in there. We've tried to test it out. I'm going to do this so much injustice because I'm not prepared to talk about it. But you start looking at
like us.
Hey, that's okay. We're just winging it right now, Dave. Anyway, so don't feel bad.
But if you look at the OSHA standard and it says if you're exposed to, I believe, 1 part per million in your 8-hour workday, you've got to keep those records 30 years past termination of that employee. So now you look at all the cross sensitivities of this ETO-B sensor, and they're all basically carcinogens. So if you get rid of the cross sensitivity of the CO, so in that meter we also have a CO, so we can rule that out. Then we can say, hey, in our fire reports, which go back to the NFA, we can say this firefighter 5 years ago had 9 parts per million of ETO, and there was no cross sensitivity with CO. So we can start tracking some of this data and maybe changing the way we do overhaul or enter fires. Just trying to gather some data.
When you're saying ETO, you're saying ethylene oxide?
Correct.
Wow. I'll be honest with you, I've never heard of somebody tracking ethylene oxide honest, I mean, we have that oxy in New York City, but it's used as a sanitation, sterilization thing. And it's because it's mostly the most flammable thing on the planet, bar very few. It's like flammable from like 1% to 125%. You know.
Well, in some of the cases now, we rolled these out. Oh, I want to say October of last year. So it's not been that long. And the few fires that we've had where that meter's been brought in right before they begin overhaul, we got positive hits. We've got 9, 10 parts per million of ETO and no cross sensitivity of CO on there. And then you look at what all the plastics we have in these houses, that's what's off gassing. So why are we, when do we go in with that overall now? Is it when we get, no CO, no hydrogen cyanide and go off air? Or do we just now go, hey, we need to look at this a lot closer?
Interesting.
Good. Very cool.
Chris N has a comment here. It says, waiting till you get on scene also gives you a pause to take everything in. You also kind of step away for a minute. And also, depending on what kind of meat you have to warm up, they may be motion sensitive. And I've never heard of motion sensitive, though might. Damn
Jameson.
Oh, I know you're stay strong, my man. Yeah. I have, listen, in Hazmat, from my personal view, I was in, my firehouse has two companies. We're both special operations. And I spent 15 years in Squad 288 on the other side. And they were the gung-ho, A-type personality firefighters, breathing smoke and doing all that crap, going to fires and stuff like that. And then you got Hazmat, which is the old, we'll be there when we get there. So we used to bust their balls that, you could time them on a calendar. They're so slow, so making up for even slowing down even more on scene seems counterintuitive to me, at least in my purview. When we get off the scene, the chief is like, listen, go handle it. I make the magic happen, make unicorns appear. They don't want to be like, oh, I want to wait like 2 hours for you to warm up your meters and stuff.
Right. Awesome.
I love this. Who's that?
Hey, Bob, it's me, Kevin.
It's Kevin. He's in a...
Yeah.
It's
took a while.
Backlight behind you. You look like the Jedi or something. What the hell you got going on there?
Yeah, put that light in front of you.
Yeah, what the?
Hang on a sec. Let me move in the other room here.
Yeah, you look like a pedophile. What the hell are you?
He does look like
easy,
a pedophile.
easy. Oh,
there he is.
That's not how I wanted the introduction.
Look at the handsome guy.
Kevin Ryan, everybody from City of Baltimore Hazmat. Welcome aboard.
How's it going, big boy?
Thanks, guys. Everything's going good here.
What do you got meters? I mean, do you as a whole, and I'm not, of course, there's going to be a little discrepancies between companies like that, but do you guys do them on the roll or when you get there?
So we teach our guys to go ahead and start them up while they're on the way there. But the one thing that we have, because we have Draeger XAM 7000s, which I believe you have also. But the one thing that we do is, because we've had problems where the filters and the pumps might have residual product on them from previous calls, right, where some uneducated users may just come up and actually just turn the meter off without letting it clear itself out. So we always advocate that you actually take the pump and the filter off and then let it warm up that way. And then when you get into that clean air environment, go ahead and do your fresh air cal there.
Yeah.
So we're in the same boat too. We don't do an actual bump test on the scene. The cost of gas just got a little bit out of control for, 40 some engine companies and 20 truck companies. So going for fresh air cals is what we did. But so basically, we identified some problems. I actually have some procedures we put together I can share if anybody wants them to help try and alleviate some of those problems. I think I missed a few things while I was trying to get the app installed here, but one of the things that we discovered is silicone-based cleaners like Armor All.
Yeah.
So if you actually have a really good wagon driver that keeps your engine clean on your dog box, your motor box, whatever, or any of those portions, that'll actually destroy some of the sensors you have in there.
Yeah, and that's that's huge. Just going back a little bit in the comments, I guess we've gotten to the ethylene oxide and whatnot as far as metering for gases in a burnt out room. They're comparing it to metering for booze in a liquor store. And, you
need a meter for that?
Yeah, which listen, I'll work on it. But Todd Burton's also saying, I will take the 15 minutes at least to suit up and get a briefing and make the entry, which is a good point, but again, if I am going into something that I am relatively sure that I'm going to be getting into something above fire gear, right? So we're rolling in there. We have, a room. It is a walkthrough, but we have kind of like a little, sitting area, we'll say. I don't want to make it like we have an office in the rig, but we are getting prepared to get into a level A. We'll break them out. We'll put our feet in, put the boots on. We'll get into that standby. What's first, ready or standby? I always forget this. I think ready comes before standby comes before ready. Ready's just before they put the air on air. But anyway, they're getting up to that point, and at that point, meters are ready. Meters should be flowing. They should be going. We have like one of those Stanley. Look at you. You're my hero.
Bosnia and Brandy.
We have one of
Bosnia and Brandy.
Stanley tool bags that has a nice shoulder strap. It's kind of like an old workman's bag. It's got the handle across it. And that's where we put all the meters, and we call it the burner bag, just for a guy that was working there. But that's where we put all our jazz, so we can easily put it on with level A, all the meters inside there, and we travel with that. So, too bad we have a lazy chauffeur. Indeed. A wagon driver is an engine chauffeur. Listen, we call them chauffeurs. Some places call them engineers. What do you guys call them?
Engineer.
What do you call them, Dan?
Kevin?
We actually, by definition, we actually have two separate engine drivers are called pump operators or POs, and anything else is ladder company, Airflex, Hazmat unit. They're all considered emergency vehicle drivers, and it's actually two different pay grades that it's separated out in. So it could be either or. So, but the old school terminology throughout the years in Baltimore, it's always been called the wagon and the wagon driver.
Interesting. All right. Well, I think that's about it for tonight. This is a great topic. I got to say, I like this topic. There was meat in it.
I might actually go back and change the way I do things now. Probably not. No, I'm just kidding.
No, there's meat on both sides.
It makes sense, though. Some of it makes sense, firing up in the rig and then doing your fresh air cow when you get there to zero it out. So,
well,
listen, maybe we will.
Love to hear what you have to say. If you have a couple extra minutes, go to YouTube and which I'm sure will be coming up very soon, and put it in the comments, because if we see something cool, maybe we'll pick this up and make a part 2. So,
hey, Bob.
Yes, sir.
Hey, just a quick story for you guys out there about turning your meter on in a wagon.
Yep.
I have a friend of mine. He is actually at the Paulsboro, New Jersey refinery. Okay. And when the styrene derailment occurred, they were one of the first companies in, and they had their PID turned on, and they were about a mile or so from the scene, and the PID started going off on them that far away. So it may be a little bit of a lesson there. They had turned it on. They were just warming it up to see exactly what, to get it ready for the call. And all of a sudden it started going off on them.
Well, you know what? Then that says a good thing to us because, and I'm going to extend the show now because that's a really good point.
Oh, I didn't mean to do that, actually.
Because in all reality, if the meter starts going off, even in a low alarm, it's telling you to take some type of action, right? And if I'm a mile away getting that, then everything inside that radius is suspect. You know what I'm saying? Unless I'm, of course, if the wind's coming at my face and all the other stuff like that, in which case you want to go uphill, upwind, upstate to get around that. But that should be giving you, if I'm getting that from like, I was thinking, what is he doing? This is the first and last time I bring this down. All right.
It was my dog.
Okay. So, I mean, in all reality, if we are getting alarm one from 1 mile away, I had to really seriously second guess my entrance, my ingress, if that's a word, right? My entry, I guess it would be, to get to the scene. Anybody have any second thoughts about that? I mean, because if my meters are going off, it's telling me, hey, put the brakes on a little bit. What's going on here? If I was on foot, that's what I would be doing.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
And if you started them up outside, you weren't getting that heads up. I mean, styrene can be some carcinogenic crap.
Right.
I can't get the image out of my head now.
I think we're going to have to do a part 2 to this, Bobby.
Oh, okay. Yes, you know what? We are going to do a part 2. If you want to drop some lines of your thoughts or you want to get involved in this conversation, we have, I believe, 10 seats available. So you can see what all of us are wearing. We're wearing headphones because if you don't have that, it will feed back the audio into the microphone. And we need that. So even if you have earbuds or whatever, if you're interested in doing it, send an email to feedback@thehazmatguys.com and Mike will kind of vet you if I would. And we will get you a log on to the next show. And maybe we'll continue this whole thing about metering and how we start them up and what we do with them, if that's good for everybody. So that wraps up just about another episode of the Hazmat Guys Nation Roundtable. Please be sure to follow us on our Facebook pages at Hazmat Nation and the Hazmat Guys. Let's go around real quickly to who's at the table to talk about where you are. Bob, where are you from and where can we find us?
Actually, let's go with Kevin because Kevin, since he's new and I think he just started a new blog somewhere, if I'm not mistaken.
Called crotchshot.com. All right. Yeah, where can we find you? Where are you going to be?
So my name's Kevin Ryan. I'm Baltimore City Fire Department Hazmat Operations. You can email me at kwrsft@gmail.com. You can also find me at hazmatnation.com under the Buzz blog, which is named in honor of our former fire chief, Buzzy Melton, who was a pioneer in the hazmat field. So you can find me there. There's a couple of good articles going on right now, especially I've got a 2-parter going on PPE selection. So go to Hazmat Nation, start up the chat, read the column, and tell me what you think.
Awesome. I read the columns, and they're fantastic.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Bob, where can we find you?
Well, besides being in God's waiting room, i.e. Florida, you can get me at hcmtlt@gmail.com or bobkosh@hazsim.com. We will be in FDIC in a couple short months, followed up with a visit to Baltimore where Kevin's buying everybody drinks. So
yes,
the bar tab's on him.
Bosnian brandy for everyone.
Oh, I love it. I love it.
Can't wait.
I am Bobby Salveson, and I am from the Hazmat Guys podcast, where we break down incredibly difficult topics into the 5th grade level, which is where everybody really likes to get to. And we are rolling out a couple of new new shows, and they will be coming up very soon. We have Ask the Hazmat Guys, which is where you can just give us questions, and we'll answer them in short format. And we're also happy to bring back one of our good friends. If you don't know him, go find him. His name is Bobby Metcalf, and he is the host of the Firefighters podcast from Rochester, New York. This guy is new to the fire department. However, he is an on-air meteorologist and a professional fireman. So he's got that buttery voice. Dude, he's really good on the air. And we are going to be kind of collaborating with him to get him some stuff up and on the air. So by all means, come and check us out. And we will also be at the New York State. We'll be at Cold Zone. And we will be at IAFC in Baltimore. So that's the coming up. So be sure to catch next week's show live every Tuesday night at 21:15 hours on Eastern Standard Time on Webinar Jam, where you can find a link to the show on hazmatnation.com. And we'll also be posting our video on YouTube channel at thmgnation.com. That's it. Good night, everybody.
Be safe.
Be safe, everyone.